Anthony William, the Medical Medium Live. Like I said, I'm here talking about women's reproductive systems and all the different problems that happen. Talking about breast density, cysts, fibroids, endometriosis, HPV, infertility, PCOS, PID, adrenal fatigue, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, menopause symptoms, talking about it all. Really important because reproductive issues are serious and we have to take them serious, more serious than anybody even knows because of what's going on out there. Medical Medium Celery Juice book right here, talking about the effects of celery juice in the reproductive system. I have my celery juice right here, you guys. It's great to be with you Sunday morning. I'm honored. I missed you. I really did. I missed you guys so much. And to be here with you right now is an amazing moment in time, and I treasure it. And it's a great honor, actually, to be of service and to just talk about things that are so critically important, like reproductive systems. So we're taught it's supposed to be basically normal. Women are supposed to have endometriosis. They're supposed to have fibroids. They're supposed to have reproductive system issues. They're supposed to have cysts. They're supposed to have PCOS. They're supposed to have all these different issues. And that's what we're trained to do. Someone said, I take you serious, Anthony. Oh, bless your heart. I miss you guys too. And the thing is that with women is that women are kept down. In my opinion, I believe women are kept down with health. So that's what happens out there is that women's empowerment isn't where health is, meaning the conventional system doesn't allow that. It's like controlling women through keeping them in the dark about their health is what I believe happens. And I'm not talking about the doctors. They're not doing that. I'm talking about what's above the doctors and in the system. So women are not supposed to know why they have these issues, breast density, cysts, fibroids, endometriosis. It just so happens it's genetics or something like that. Or it's their body, it's their faulty body. Or they're just one of those women that are supposed to have PCOS. It just happens. There's no answers. There's no reasoning. There's no causes. It just so happens, and maybe it's genetic. Maybe somebody in your family line had it. That's what we're supposed to know. So we're supposed to be kind of kept in the dark or kept down. And there's a way to control women when you do that, and that's how the system works, where you control their health, you control their knowledge about their health, and you control their strength through their health. That's what happens. Because when a woman's feeling good and able to be on top of the world with their health, they feel like they can conquer anything. They feel like they can tackle a career. They feel like they can tackle things. They feel like they can find meaningful relationships and all these different things that move women forward in their life. But when you're battling health all the time, severe fatigue, or you're battling any kind of condition, Hashimoto's thyroiditis with severe fatigue, adrenal fatigue, or reproductive system conditions that are debilitating, like PID, pelvic inflammatory system, or chronic UTIs all the time, or any kind of reproductive system issue whatsoever, when we're battling that, it takes time away. It takes energy away. And when the system doesn't allow women to know, or doesn't care to allow women to know, or science research doesn't really work on any of this stuff, I believe on purpose, it keeps women not functioning at their best. So they can't take control over their own health, that they can't take control over their own lives the way they need to. So I believe reproductive systems, women with reproductive systems is critical. With men, it's prostate, and men die of heart attacks. I mean, sure, men get multiple sclerosis, they get fibromyalgia. You guys know that. There's a lot of guys here watching. There's a lot of guys here that get the medical medium books, of course. And, but if you go to a grocery store and you talk to 10 women, and at a grocery store, 10 out of 10 women have had a reproductive system issue, or is developing one, or is about to. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening. Most women have more than one. They'll have fibroids, they'll have cysts. If a woman doesn't have Hashimoto's thyroiditis or adrenal fatigue, they'll have something else going on. They'll have endometriosis. So it's really common, and we've been taught that it's supposed to be common. We're taught that it's supposed to be the norm, that this is how it's supposed to be. So women really are, in my opinion, struggling out there with this, and the system isn't bringing that awareness. Now, there are groups on the internet. There are groups on the internet as far as Facebook, and there's groups out there. There's support groups out there to some degree with women's health issues and women's reproductive systems. But that's alternatively speaking. I'm talking about the big conventional system keeps women in the dark. So that's why it's so critical. We're going to talk about celery juice, the reproductive system too, as well, with everything about the celery juice and how it works. Get a copy as soon as you can. It's coming out in 2 weeks. I really don't know if they're going to even be in stock at that point. So try not to wait until it comes out. Try to lock one down now. Go to Amazon.com. It's on sale. It's just a little over $12. If you can't afford a book, go to the library. Just go to the library. They'll get a hold of a used copy. You just get the book for free. Everybody go to the library. Doesn't matter to me. It just matters you have this and you're getting empowered and you're getting the information you need. Critical. So the celery juice book is about how to use celery juice for your health. I have over 200 literally symptoms and conditions in here. If I open up the book right here, this is just a reproductive system area where I'm talking about all these different reproductive system issues and the whole bit. But there's so many different conditions in here and how, what causes them, the real causes, how celery juice helps. You really need to take a look. So the bottom line is that I know people struggle. I know people are suffering. I know it's not easy. It's not easy at all to get through the day when you're struggling with some kind of condition and symptom. Reproductive systems is a sensitive area for women. It's a difficult one, because they feel as if their body's letting them down in one of the most important parts of women's health. So we have to take it seriously. I mean, really seriously. So let's go into it. Breast density, we'll start with breast density. How does it happen? You're drinking your celery juice right now? I'm reading all your comments, believe it or not. That's why I all of a sudden pause for a second as I'm speaking and stuff, because I'm reading everything you're saying. How does breast density occur? It's breast tissue that gets saturated with toxins, and then it gets tough, it gets dense, it gets thick over time. So as the years go on, the breast tissue gets thick. What happens is the liver, I hope you guys all have liver rescue. The liver gets congested, it gets stagnant, it gets sluggish, it gets intoxicated as the years go by for women. No one addresses the liver. Nobody talks about the liver. Nobody's supporting women with liver health. So that's what occurs. So then the liver gets toxic. The toxins overflow into the lymphatic system. They end up into the secondary filter, which is your lymphatic system. That secondary filter is the tissue that ends up surrounding the breast tissue itself. That's your lymphatic tissue. It all leads there. So all these toxins end up going into the breast tissue. So when it goes there, the tissue gets oversaturated with these poisons, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, heavy metals, mercury, aluminum. How many tuna sandwiches have you had over the years? How many eggs have you eaten over the years? How many tuna sandwiches? How many glasses of milk have you had with the calcium in milk, which causes calcifications of the breast tissue? So when you drink dairy products, you're drinking a glass of milk. That milk, that calcium in milk is the calcium that causes problems in the breast tissue. All these things end up building up. You get calcifications, you get keloids in the tissue, you get tissue that becomes, the elasticity of the tissue's gone. The blood vessels die in breast tissue, so it becomes hardened, it waxes, it wanes. That's what happens with breast density. And women are not educated on any level on breast density at all. They just go and they get their mammogram and there's like checking for breast density. That's pretty much it. And it's like triage medicine. We have to have way better than triage medicine. We have to have real preventative. So, okay, if all this sounds complicated and you're like overwhelmed and you're like, oh my God, it's a lot of information for breast density, just get a glass of celery juice going and ignore everything I'm saying then. And that's fine. Get the book, Medical Medium Celery Juice, so you can actually read it a little bit at a time and completely digest it and become an expert at it, and drink the celery juice. So it's really important. So a lot of times with advanced breast conditions like breast cancer, that's the Epstein-Barr virus. So the Epstein-Barr virus causes a lot of other issues. Also, the Epstein-Barr virus causes cysts in the breasts that are benign. Epstein-Barr causes lipomas in breast tissue and that are benign. So that all this can happen from Epstein-Barr. You can have malignant tissue, you can have tissue that's benign, but either way, all of this can occur from Epstein-Barr entering into tissue, and that's what happens. So that's another thing too. Our livers get saturated with poisons, toxins, also the Epstein-Barr. Celery juice not only cleanses and frees the liver, but it frees the lymphatic system. It delivers fresh water. Basically, here's how it works. When we drink water, because we're drinking water, we're trying to cleanse our system. You know how the medical medium does the lemon water to flush out the liver. You do the lemon water to flush out the liver. That's one aspect of cleansing, okay? So you do your lemon water in the morning. But that's different than when you juice straight celery juice, the sodium cluster salts. This is a liquid that's thicker. It's filled with mineral salts. It's filled with sodium cluster salts. It's filled with plant hormones. There's no plant hormones in water. It's filled with vitamin C, the right kind of vitamin C. There's no vitamin C in water. So this is really important right here. So what this does, it goes into the breast tissue. It has a saturation rate faster than even toxins. It goes deep into breast tissue and brings it back to life. You lose that density and things start to soften up. You start softening up in places, and that's critical. So that's what the celery juice does. So it's important, rejuvenates. Celery juice also provides anti-tumor, anti-adhesion properties. So the breast tissue isn't so quick to get adhesions, isn't so quick to get calcifications and tumors. Really important. That's why you want your celery juice every single day. I'm reading everything. A whole celery yields 16 ounces or less. You can, some whole, bunches of celery. I'm going to answer questions where I can. You can get a lot of celery juice out of some of them. It's incredible, really. So you want to do it every single day. Here's a little tip, and I talk about it in the book. I want you to know, here's a little tip. Stay away from HPP celery juices. So what's HPP? It's high-pressured pasteurization, okay? Now, high-pressured pasteurization is a technique in all of the health food stores and grocery stores where you see drinks that you think are 100% raw. So you'll see now celery juice in all these, juice companies and juice brands that are juicing their products. They're using high-pressure pasteurization. It's called HPP, where it's not heat-based, but it's high-pressure based. That destroys a lot of the quality of a lot of the things that celery juice is going to do for you. Celery juice, because it costs money to go and buy your celery juice or to go and do it. Try to do it fresh. Go to juice bars where they juice it in front of you. Go to health food stores where they juice it in front of you. I talk about, look, I can't cover everything in the medical medium celery juice. Go to Amazon, lock down a copy so you don't miss out. I know the opening day when this comes out in a couple of weeks, I know the copies are just going to be like literally gone pretty quick. So HPP you want to avoid. That's different than fresh juicing. It looks like it's fresh. It acts like it's fresh. It has a later date on it, like a longer shelf life when it's HPP. That's why they do it, and it sits on the shelf. And all these popular juice companies are HPP. And now, HPP is okay, maybe for some other products and stuff they might be selling. I'm not saying it's the worst thing. I'm saying for celery juice, it's so delicate when it's in its state, freshly juiced. That's when the medicine occurs. Avoid the HPP, learn about that, okay? And the store shelves have that, and they don't even say it. They don't even say it on the thing, HPP. You just know if there's a date on there that says a week later, 2 weeks later, that's not fresh celery juice. Just remember this. Such an important tip I have to tell you so I protect you. I got to have your back. Remember, I don't have any loyalty to any company. I don't have any loyalty to anybody because they can change whatever they're doing. They can change whatever they're doing. So my loyalty stands with you guys all the time. If someone HPP celery juice, my loyalty's gone for that company. It has to be what it is to protect you, bottom line. Okay, cysts. Let's go into that a little bit. Cysts. Cysts can develop from a variety of toxins such as heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. Okay, and viruses such as Epstein-Barr. So cysts are created by Epstein-Barr, for the Epstein-Barr virus. They're created by it. And so you have to keep in mind, it takes viruses to create bumps in us, to create things in us, to create tumors and cysts. and adhesions and things like this. It takes bugs to do that. So we're kept from knowing that information. Women are kept back by knowing that information because they can't protect themselves. And so exposure to Epstein-Barr is easy. It happens all the time. Women have a higher risk at exposure of different Epstein-Barrs as they go through their life. And so it's important to knock these viruses down, clean them up. I talk about all the different things you can do in the books, about what you can do for these viruses, how you can work on healing. I talk about all that. So important, you guys. You're having trouble getting celery. You know, there's different times of the season where it's harder to get celery. That's going to change. So many farms are now growing it and trying to grow it. It's eventually going to be in abundance and the price is going to be lower. So just hang in there. It's going to happen. So celery juice helps break down, excuse me, celery juice helps break down those calcifications and hardened chronic cysts. So that's what it does. My throat's getting dry. I've been talking. I just did Instagram for 40 minutes and now I'm on here with you guys and my throat's getting dry. Celery juice helps to feed cells around cysts. So here's the things. Around cysts, you have cells. These cells are your healthy cells. They become unhealthy cells when cysts are growing into them. Celery juice enters in to those healthy cells. And when it enters into those healthy cells, the cysts have a more difficult time expanding and growing. They have a more difficult time collecting cells. So you got to know how important this is. That's a big deal all on its own. Endometriosis, let's talk about that a little bit. Celery juice provides undiscovered phytochemical compounds that inhibits extra abnormal cell growth. So endometriosis, there's no answers by the medical establishment and by the medical research and science on how it works with endometriosis. There's no real answers. You get the surgeries, they offer birth control for it, they offer things like that. There's not a lot to do, and the diets they offer are not even appropriate for endometriosis. They grow endometriosis faster. So that's the diets they offer in conventional medicine. So that's the whole thing. Someone just asked, would help break down a thyroid nodule? A thyroid nodule was created by Epstein-Barr because that's what creates thyroid nodules. Get the book Thyroid Healing, Medical Medium Thyroid Healing, okay? Actually, get this. I talk about thyroid problems all through here too. Just get this so you know what celery juice can do with that and for that. So, yes, thyroid nodules, it helps to break it down, but you have to do other things too. You can't just do the celery juice and the celery juice by itself and rely on that to do it all. It does help and it does do these things, but you got to stay away from the eggs, the milk, cheese, butter. You got to stay away from the eggs. You got to stay away from the milk, cheese, butter. You got to stay away from the pork. You got to stay away from a lot of the no foods, the gluten. You got to bring in more leafy greens. You got to take care of yourself better. All of that is really important. So abnormal tissue growth is, So abnormal tissue growth happens with endometriosis, spreads to the colon, to the bladder, the whole bit. And that becomes a problem. And then you got to get the surgeries. You got to get it removed off the pods, removed off the bladder. So many women suffer. It's unbelievable. I'm going to drink something, you guys, for a second. I'm going to drink some celery juice. So unhealthy cells develop and they expand where they're not supposed to be. And that's the issue with endometriosis. Celery juice helps stops that. So what happens is our bodies get filled with different troublemakers, fungicides, pesticides, herbicides. They get filled with all kinds of different insecticides that happen, air fresheners that we breathe in. I was in a store and the air fresheners were just so intoxicating. They were just filling my lungs. It was unbelievable. It was just the other day. It was actually a couple days ago. I was in a store with a friend and literally they had the plug-in air fresheners in there. And I was in there for like 40 minutes or something, or almost an hour. And I was breathing in. I swear to God, I wish I had a mask or something. I was breathing in straight air freshener. Like the oil-based air freshener, the chemicals that just come out, they puff out. And, and I even saw in the store, one of them plugged into the wall, right? And it was like my lungs were filled with this stuff. And I'm not used to actually breathing in all that stuff because I avoid it. So when you actually are in it for an hour, you remember how toxic those things are, and you just remember. And it was like incredible. And I was like, okay. And I was talking to Spirit, and I was like, what kind of toxins am I getting in me? I'm getting, basically experimental chemicals, synthetic chemicals. I'm getting really toxic, dangerous chemicals just filling up in my lungs. How long is it going to take to get out? What is it going to take to detox it out? You know what I mean? All these things I'm asking Spirit these questions because I can do that because I'm there. So heavy metals such as mercury, aluminum, viruses, they all play a role in endometriosis. Celery juice helps break down these toxins. So just like with the air fresheners, I was just talking about it. And it helps. It's incredible. Celery juice helps to stop abnormal tissue growth. All this is important, so keep that in mind. Fibroids. Let's go into that a little bit. Fibroids caused by Epstein-Barr, they're viral. That's another thing. So I got to tell you the story. It's a sad one. So a friend of mine, a friend of the family's, okay, was developing a fibroid, and it was growing rapidly. And she didn't do the celery juice ever. And I don't judge her for that. I totally understand. It takes something inside of you to want to juice celery. It takes something inside of you. It takes you know what? I'm tired of being sick. I want to do something about it. I just have to do something about it. Somebody said they just bought the celery juice book. Thank you. That's amazing because it's going to really help you. You won't be disappointed, I promise. And at least I know you have a copy and it's locked down. So you went to Amazon probably. So this fibroid grew inside of her and grew. And she was eating lots of eggs. So she was eating 2 eggs every single day. She wasn't frying them. She was just doing 2 eggs. She was doing hard-boiled eggs. She was doing them in her salads. But she was eating other things. She was eating cheese. I said, don't eat cheese with a fibroid like that. Stop eating eggs. And she said she just couldn't. And I don't blame her because we just get conditioned. We get taught to eat eggs. We get taught to eat cheese. We get taught to eat these things. And we just do it. So, the thing is that she didn't follow any medical medium information. I told her, do the heavy metal detox smoothie. Do the medical medium, heavy metal detox smoothie, the whole bit. She says it's too hard. She says stick the Vimergy barley grass juice powder in there and the Vimergy spirulina in there. And she has to go get the frozen wild blueberries. And it was really hard on her. And I said, I totally understand. It's not always easy. These things are hard to do in a sense because it takes something inside of us to say, I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to go work on it. I'm going to go do my heavy metal detox smoothie. I'm going to go do something about it. And it takes a lot. But the fibroid it grew in her and it grew in her. And she wished she did all these things, but it doesn't happen for some reason with a lot of people. And I get it. I understand why. So I didn't judge her. I said, look, I support you. If there's anything I could do, let me know. And so this family member, this friend of the family, it got so big, it was the size of a bowling ball, and she had it removed. It was a really difficult surgery. She suffered through it. The pain, recovery was so difficult, so painful. The poor thing went through so much with it, and it was such a difficult situation in so many different ways. But now, her concern is growing the fibroids back. That's her concern, is growing the fibroids back. It's we have to make sure we clean up your Epstein-Barr virus. That has to get out of your system. So it's telling her, you got to get the Epstein-Barr out. You got to make sure you do some of the antiviral supplements I talk about in liver rescue. And you got to clean things up a little bit. You got to go on the 369 cleanse. And it's amazing. I'm so proud of her. It's unbelievable. I'm proud of her like I'm proud of you guys. It's incredible. She's doing the 369. She's doing the liver cleanse. She's doing the celery juice every day. And she's not letting fibroids grow again and take over her life. And so she's empowering herself. And she's saying, you know what? I got the Epstein-Barr. That's what created it. And she knows, and she's empowering herself, and she's knocking it down. And the truth is that fibroids are caused by the Epstein-Barr virus. And also even sometimes bacteria, such as strep. So she's knocking down any strep bacteria. So it's incredible. So when it's viral, it's a different kind of cystic it's a fibroid, different kind of fibroid. The shape's different. When it's bacterial related, the shape of the fibroid's different. She had the shape where it was the Epstein-Barr, the shape of the fibroid. So it's just a little thing I wanted to tell you about it. I mean, she said, you can tell everybody. It's totally fine. I said, well, is it okay if I talk about it a little bit and share with other women? And she said, it's totally fine because, you know, she's starting to talk about it too. So it's a big deal. Okay. The sodium cluster salts in celery juice seek out bacteria and viruses. So when she's drinking her celery juice, she's saying, hey, AW, you know, I'm drinking my celery juice. I'm killing off the viruses. I'm knocking them down, okay? I'm not eating the eggs. I'm not eating the eggs like I was told by all the doctors. They told me to eat the eggs. They said it'd be good for PCOS. They said it'd be good for fibroids. They said it'd be good for endometriosis. So I stopped eating the eggs. I'm drinking the celery juice. I feel better than ever. I got my energy back. my recovery feels better, the whole bit. So, and you know, it's incredible. It's really an incredible story. So let's talk about PID, a pelvic inflammatory disease. Okay, the result of pelvic inflammatory disease is Streptococcus bacteria in the reproductive system. Happens with, you know, people get UTIs, they get bladder infections, they get yeast infections, they get kidney infections, all from strep. So that happens all the time. And it happens and they end up getting PID too. So that's another thing too. So celery juice also helps with killing off that strep bacteria. So people actually getting better. They get better, they get rid of the PID, the whole bit. Let's talk about polycystic ovarian syndrome. Let's talk about that. I talk about PCOS in the celery juice book, so this is where you can get it. PCOS is caused by Epstein-Barr virus. Fluid-filled cysts, okay, are caused by something. And it's amazing how the medical system, they teach women that it's something else. They teach women that it's their body. They teach women that there is no cause. They teach women that the weight they're getting is from their PCOS. The weight women are getting from PCOS is their liver being stagnant, is being sluggish. And that's the weight they're getting with their PCOS. Because their liver's getting stagnant, their liver's getting sluggish, and that's what occurs. That's where the weight comes on. Now, there's a lot of women where their liver didn't get stagnant or sluggish yet, so their PCOS, they have PCOS, but they're skinny, or their weight is agreeable or fine to them, or agreeable to somebody else, or however it works with how they feel about their weight. But what happens is, though, that when the weight comes on with PCOS, that's because the liver was so congested, was so stagnant, was so sluggish. So interstitial cystitis information would be appreciated with celery juice. Absolutely. It's a healing mechanism for tissue that's developed. So interstitial cystitis is strep-related bacteria causing tissue to become like abrasive, bumpy, and tough. And that's what happens inside the bladder, interstitial cystitis, the whole bit. And celery juice helps to actually clean out that bacteria so healing can occur. So I thought I'd answer that question because it's kind of in the same ballpark right here. So the deal is, when it comes down to PCOS, it's viral caused. Women are told to eat the wrong foods that feed the virus. So let's go into that one little bit because that's important, you guys. So why is it important to stay away from foods like milk, cheese, butter, like eggs? Why is it important to stay away from certain foods? Because they feed viruses. Gluten feeds viruses. I was the first person, just you got to hear this one. I hate this, like, take us off track for 1 second. I was the first person to talk about how gluten makes us sick because it feeds viruses and bacteria. No one spoke of it. It didn't even exist until I was doing that for years. And now, physicians are just starting to talk about it on the circuit a little bit, that gluten feeds something in the body. They took the information from medical medium. Remember, there's no science and research behind medical medium, okay? It's information that's advanced ahead of science and research. But people in the industry are taking that information and they use their credentials, like they're scientists and they're doctors, and they start using that information. And they start saying, hey, gluten feeds bugs. And so because they know it's obviously true. So anyway, the whole thing is that you don't want to feed viruses like the Epstein-Barr, viruses like bacteria. You don't want to feed bacteria like strep that actually creates your PCOS and so forth. Let's talk about HPV. We're going to go into that one. HPV has no immunity to celery juice. So celery juice sodium cluster salts really do a great job knocking down HPV. So do an incredible job knocking down HPV. So that's the key. Like there's no remedy for HPV out there. They don't have one out there. So medical research and science, they don't know what to do about HPV. They just monitor it. That's basically what they do. You know, doctors are offering cleaner diets. Well, yeah, cleaner diets, no processed foods, no fried foods, none of that stuff. And it helps a little bit because once again, that feeds viruses when you're eating not good. So somebody said that eggs have gluten. No, eggs doesn't have gluten, but eggs they have their own problems, and that's why you have to be careful. It's a food. Okay, I've got to talk about eggs for 1 second, okay? Viruses and bacteria were raised in labs a long time ago and still today. They escaped out of the labs over the decades, and they got into people. How that happened, you could use your imagination. There's ways it can happen, bottom line. But it has escaped into the realm of people. So it's gotten into people. Viruses, they're patented. They have ownership. This is why research and science ignores bugs for the most part with chronic illness. This is why all your different conditions, Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, eczema, psoriasis, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, that's why all those different conditions are like the system doesn't want to go near the fact that Epstein-Barr causes these, doesn't want to go near the fact that bugs cause these. There's a reason, because these bugs have ownership that goes back through the ages, through the decades. They were in labs. They actually have numbers. They have codes. They have serial codes. These bugs have information. So no one wants to go near that. They just let them go into the air. They let them go into the world. They're in people, and then we have to live with it and deal with it. But we're kept stupid, we're kept dumb, and we're kept down. We're told it's your body attacking itself. That's why you have Hashimoto's. It's your body attacking itself. That's why you have multiple sclerosis. It's your body's faulty. It's genetics. We're told these things because if we're told the real reasons, then there's going to be more research on the real reasons, bringing it back to, oh my God, an oh my God moment where, whoa, somebody's responsible for how many women have been ill, or how many women died, or how many kids are sick, or how many people are sick. There's somebody actually responsible. So that's why the system's designed like it is. And that's why women are kind of kept down. So they're actually they're just told to eat eggs. So where does the eggs fall in? The eggs were used as a food to feed all viruses and bacteria. That's how they were raised. A virus and a bacterium has to actually live off of eating. It has to eat like we do. It has to feed off of food. So in order to keep it alive, it has to actually have food fed to it in labs, in the lab. So that's how it works. So what happens is when you eat the same foods that these viruses eat, you develop your PCOS, you develop your hypothyroidism, you develop your hyperthyroidism, you develop your Hashimoto's thyroiditis, you advance your multiple sclerosis, you advance your fibromyalgia, you advance your rheumatoid arthritis, you advance your other conditions. So many of them I'm not even mentioning here. You advance your endometriosis, your fibroids, your cysts, all of it. You advance it. So the medical medium books, so whether you're keto, paleo, plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, whatever diet you subscribe to, and you got your processed foods out and you got your diet cleaned up, medical medium books is something different. It's about information of really what's wrong, what the causes are, what to do about it, and how to heal. And it could work with your diet. You're plant-based, you're 100% raw plant-based. There's not a lot of people that are raw. 100% raw, plant-based. It's a small crew. It's so tiny. If that's where you are, and it's amazing, that's actually an amazing diet. If that's where you are, this all plugs in. If you're keto, if that's where you are, this all plugs in. If you're paleo and that's where you are, this all plugs in. That's the whole point. That's how it works. Hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, okay? Caused by the virus Epstein-Barr, it enters into the thyroid. You know, I had a guy tell me recently, said to me the other day, okay, said to me, the thing is about you, Anthony, is that you talk about Epstein-Barr a lot. And I said, well, I talk about shingles a lot. Shingles causes trigeminal neuralgia, sciatic pain. Shingles causes all kinds of problems. Shingles virus causes Bell palsy. Shingles virus causes all these things. He goes, wait, yeah, but you talk about Epstein-Barr a lot. It's like everything you say, Hashimoto's and multiple sclerosis is caused by Epstein-Barr. And that's what you always say and stuff like that. And you sound like you're just like a one-man show on Epstein-Barr. You're always talking Epstein-Barr. I said, okay, well, what do you believe in? What do you believe is causing all this? And he said, well, good question. I said, talk to me. What do you believe that's causing everybody's sickness? What do you believe that's causing everybody's problems? And he said, as you're a really smart guy, he said, I think it's genes. I think genes is responsible for everything. I said, so you're calling me a one-pony show about Epstein-Barr when I've already clocked like over 60 varieties of Epstein-Barr mutations, 30 varieties of shingles and mutations, HHV6, all these other different viruses that cause problems, all the different bacteria, all the different heavy metals I talk about. I said, you didn't mention the fact that I talk about all the different heavy metal issues that people get, all the different brain issues, all the problems people get in their brain, the OCD, everything else. It's not Epstein-Barr, it's heavy metals. He goes, I guess you're right. You're not a one-pony show. And he laughed and he goes, I'm a one-pony show, he said, because I think genes is behind everything. I said, no, you're a two-pony show. You think genes is behind it and your body's attacking itself as the other one. And he laughed and he goes, you're right. I believe that autoimmune is the body attacking itself, which is one pony. And then I believe that genes is the other one. I said, yeah, you're two. I go, and so what happens is that the Epstein-Barr is a real issue that's occurring. For years I've been talking about how it entered into the thyroid and created thyroid nodules, like somebody said that I answered earlier. I talked about for years how it entered in somebody's thyroid and damaged the thyroid tissue, causing it to go hyper. People have hyper and hypo in the same problem, the same condition with their thyroid. Thyroid cancer is Epstein-Barr too. So different varieties of Epstein-Barr, they're more aggressive, they do different things. So I talk about that too. So the deal is that when you're drinking celery juice, it does help because you're breaking down viral material. That's the whole point. You're breaking down viruses. By the way, science research are developing papers now, putting out studies saying they think Epstein-Barr is now linked to the thyroid and thyroid disease. Wait a minute. I've been talking about that for decades. That's my information. I published that already, long before. So you got to think about this advanced information ahead of science and research. So hyperthyroidism, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, nodule cysts in the thyroid are all Epstein-Barr. That's why you need celery juice. Now, what I like about the celery juice book, you guys, is that for me, it even helps motivate me. I wake up some mornings and I don't want to juice my celery juice, okay? This actually cleared my throat, by the way, meaning my throat was so dry because the air is so dry in here right now. Like, it's just really dry where I am right now. And I'm talking so fast for a couple hours this morning anyway overall. So the deal is celery juice already soothed my throat and already moistened it. That's how incredible this stuff is. So it just feels so good for like when you're in an area where, the heat's running and it's really dry and stuff like that. So here's the deal. Celery juice. I want to talk about the book a little bit. What helps me is it keeps me on track, the book. Now that I have the one copy in my hand, I feel kind of like, I feel like bad about that I actually have the copy of celery juice before you guys do. But I'm able to flip through it while I'm juicing celery. I'm able to actually read through it and see why, even though it's my information coming through from Spirit, it's all in here, but the power of celery juice and what it does, I get to just read it. Talk about the coumarins in here and why it brings your skin back, why it reverses the aging process, why it gives you healthy skin, why people's eczema psoriasis is going away. We're still going on the reproductive system, but I'm just saying I get inspired when I'm juicing it. So basically this book is helping you stay on track. So at least get the book to keep you on track and don't miss out. In 2 weeks it's coming out, I think, somewhere around there. And I really don't think it's going to be in stock. I don't. I think if you lock down a pre-order, you can guarantee it. It's on sale right now. It's only $12 or something around there. Menopause, let's talk about that. So menopause is blamed on hormones. That's what it's blamed on. Menopause symptoms, when it's talking about symptoms. Of course, when we go through menopause, there's a change that occurs, that it naturally happens. But symptoms are not supposed to naturally happen. We have to remember that. We're not supposed to have symptoms like the hot flashes. We're not supposed to have the hot flashes, the heart palpitations, all of that. That's other issues occurring. That's not menopause. It just so happens at that time, as the decades go on and a woman ages, what happens is her liver's aging faster. And when the liver's aging faster and it's getting toxic and it's getting filled with poisons and it's getting filled with pesticides, herbicides year after year, toxic cleaning agents year after year, solvents that get in there, gasoline from the gas station pumping our own gas, just inhaling the fumes, the liver gets so congested. And then if a little alcohol was used, or coffee drinkers, I know we think coffee's like a medicine or something like that. It's actually not. It ages you quickly. That's what it does. Extremely acidic and ages the body quickly. I'm just saying. So we're drinking the coffee every day after day, for year after year after year. We're hitting the liver hard. We're doing all this salt. This is different. Sodium cluster salts break up salt deposits in the body. I talk about in medical medium celery juice. But women, they salt themselves to death. That's what's happening. It's all about restaurant food, how much salt we can eat. And it's like that for men too. But women suffer where the liver gets overburdened really quickly, really quickly. It gets salted out. The liver gets pickled, basically. Vinegar, that's a whole nother thing. Women are actually using vinegar all the time. They're taught that vinegar is good for us, that even apple cider vinegar is good for us. Don't put apple cider vinegar with your celery juice because you're going to get in trouble, okay? You're going to ruin your celery juice. So the liver gets filled with all these different things for so long. It gets pickled in salt, pickled in vinegar, pickled in alcohol. It gets intoxicated throughout the years. We're on high-fat diets throughout the years. Women are told to eat lots of high-fat foods. And then what happens is we get the perimenopause symptoms. We get the menopause symptoms, the heart palpitations. We get the viral loads inside the liver. The Epstein-Barr gets filled inside the liver, and it gives the heart palps. So we get the heart palps. We get the different problems with the liver. We get the adrenal fatigue. The adrenals become overburdened. They become overburdened, and they oversaturate the body with adrenaline. The cortisol's all over the place. Right around that time for women, the cortisol's crazy. They go to the doctor, their thyroid's off, their adrenals are off, they got the Epstein-Barr, their liver's all kinds of intoxicated, sluggish, stagnant, and then you get the symptoms. And that's the whole point. You get the menopause symptoms you're not supposed to have. The aging factor, aging quickly when you're not supposed to age quickly. And that happens, and it's unbelievable. Celery juice hydrates the reproductive system. It hydrates the liver. It brings back the reproductive system. It brings back the adrenals, so you lose menopause symptoms. A lot of times at menopause symptoms, the adrenals are tired. They're exhausted. Your adrenals produce female hormones for women. Reproductive hormones come out of the adrenals. The adrenals get beaten down, worn down. We're drinking coffee decade after decade and killing our adrenals. We got the caffeine going. We're addicted to different things. I'm not saying you have to stop your coffee. I'm just saying you have to do something at least about it. Bring in the celery juice, help bring back and revitalize the liver, lower the viral loads, help bring the liver back, reduce the poisons in the liver, get rid of the stagnicity in the liver. I'm reading all the comments still, you guys. And the whole bit, celery juice, the celery juice book, medical medium book, is packed with information. It's loaded with information to heal, and it's important. The subtitle of the book, okay? The most powerful medicine of our time, healing millions worldwide. It's actually helping to heal millions worldwide as we speak. And I'm going to leave you with this note too. This is important about our health, is that health trends are backed by money. That's what it is. That's how they become popular. You think you know about a health trend like collagen or anything else because it worked? It didn't work. It was purported to maybe work, so it was then invested in, and millions and millions and hundreds of $1 millions are in collagen so that you guys, it's shoved down your throat. See, that's how trends are. Trends are for suckers. That's how trends are. We're suckers. We're all suckers to trends. This isn't a trend. It's not. It's not backed by money. Money didn't shove this down anybody's throat. There's no money behind it. Farmers are killing themselves trying to grow celery because celery juice is working for people. There's nothing behind it propelling it but people healing. It's above a trend, way above it. Remember that. So that's the difference. This has freedom all over it. Celery juice is free from the chains of the industries, from the chains of all the money makers, from the chains of all the people banking and bankrolling, from the chains of all the industry people and industry giants, from the chains of the empires being built on your backs. The problem is with the chronically ill is that the people out there, the opportunists, believe that the chronically ill are cash cows. And I'm talking in an alternative world and conventional world, okay? And celery juice is pissing off all the empires and all the people that believe the chronically ill are the cash cows. Because when you're drinking your celery juice, you're going to buy less collagen, which doesn't do anything for the body. You're going to buy less something else. You're going to do less apple cider vinegar, packaged apple cider vinegar. You're going to buy less all kinds of different things, kombucha tea, because those are backed by money, and that's what made it popular. I'm not saying they're all bad. I'm just saying that they don't turn lives around. I've never seen somebody chronically ill have their lives turn around from collagen. I've never seen somebody chronically ill have their lives turn around from these trendy things that empires are being built and thrown at them to make sure they do it. This is free from it all. Take advantage of something that's not attached to darkness. Take advantage of something that's attached to light so you can heal. Celery juice is innocent. It's an innocent herb that you juice yourself and you create an herbal tonic and you start healing. Just know that. Yes, it's important to know, okay? I got your back. I stand by that. Bottom line, all right? It's not about an empire. It's about you guys healing and me providing you information. Free information wherever I can. And when the publisher wants to take it and put it out there so it could spread it around the world, that's what I got to do. So you have to pay $12 to get this. But the point is, if you don't have the $12, go to the library. Head there and go there and get a used copy. I don't care. I'll tell you why. I need you just to have the book and I need you to heal. And that's all that matters to me. And the libraries will stock it. I actually bought a whole bunch of books myself, paid for it myself, okay? A whole bunch of them. And, from the publisher. And I go to the libraries and I go with people and I have people help me and I go to the libraries and I drop off 20 books here. I go to the next library. I drop off 20 books here, 20 books here, 20 books here. And I just want you guys to get better. And I believe in you. I've watched your process. I've been watching you on Facebook all the time. I'm always there. If I don't comment, it doesn't mean I'm not watching and seeing everybody and everybody's posts and all that and your comments and all that. And I love you. God bless you too, okay? I'll see you guys soon on the next live. Look out for the next live because I'm going to be with you and I'm going to be spreading this information about the illnesses and diseases in Celery Juice book, How Celery Juice Heals. Bless your heart and take care.